looking to do some magic for sure this time around. And the bottom right-hand side, it is Reynor for Kaisi Gaming. This is going to be a tough one for Gerald. Benny, I really agree with your assessment earlier. Reynor, one of the faster players. And Gerald is not really the type of player that will play very cheesy usually, right? Like, he is a more macro-oriented player. At least to my knowledge, that is where he thrives. He's not as tricky. And if you want to play and beat Reynor straight up, that's a tall task for, I think, anyone.
He's seriously scary to go up against because strategically, he's going to scout everything. Trying to out-tempo him is near impossible. And he's super cheeky as well. Like, a lot of his plays aren't about like, he's going to do this, you know what he's going to do, Snoot style of old. No, he can actually get away with like Zergling rushes here, there, and everywhere. And he's ridiculously difficult to go up against. And Gerald, as far as I'm aware, he's a player that likes to go with the things that he knows. So it makes him a little bit more predictable. And throwing off a player like that, if you're as quick as Reynor is, can be done. So I just hope that Gerald doesn't fall apart to anything weird and wild, and he just gets to show us at least something. Because, yeah, as you said, he is actually a very, very good, capable player.
Yeah, and I like that you highlight that too, because I think that is Gerald's win condition, basically, right? It is Reynor kind of outdoing himself, kind of outpacing himself, and just trying to lean too heavily into aggression and into some weird tactics, something that shouldn't work. And if Gerald can stop whatever that ends up being, and not take too much damage, maybe that's how he grabs an advantage and then snowball from there, right? Because he's probably not going to be looking for the surprises here.
No, yeah, absolutely. So far, everything very standard for both of these guys. Gerald obviously did some of the probe harass there, blocked the natural hatchery, kind of stopped the mineral mining as much as he could. And Gerald on his side of the map's gone for a Nexus and then a Twilight Council. So that's his tech of choice. And what do you think is going to be the kind of follow-up here? Because I'm not sure how good Berlingrad is for PvZ, but I do recall Zest stealing a cheeky win off Serral on this map with something very, very feisty.
Yeah, that was really cool what Cest did against Serral, but Cest is the kind of player that is very fluid as a Protoss player, right? Like, he knows the game so well that he can do weird stuff. And I mean, what Cest does shouldn't really work. He kind of like banked up zealots inside of his base. Gerald's not going to do that. Like you said, Gerald knows like what his norm is. So I expect this is just going to be an adept attack of sorts. The robo already going down, so Glaives is what we're expecting here. And probably nothing too crazy.
No, yeah, that was definitely a Hail Mary play from Zest when he did that over in the Team League, which was awesome to see because I really thought he was going to lose so hard, but no, he did not. And yeah, a couple of gateways will be dropping as well. One so far. Oh, Dark Shrine. I like it.
Oh,
I like
it too.
Because, yeah, if he just tries to play normal and standard, that's an unfortunate little adept.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that the Dark Shrine is probably not super expected, so it's a little bit of a tweak, right? Like, not a large deviation by any means, but it's gonna be fine. And Reynor already made a lot of links, so already maybe overly safe to some degree. And Gerald has not yet applied pressure with the Adept, so you know, Reynor's already kind of hurting his own economy a little bit and making this many links, and then he's gonna have to account for the Dark Templars and making spores as well. So it kind of sucks from the Zerg perspective, and if he looks to cut that corner because he feels like he already made too many links early on, that's where Gerald could get a good edge.
Yeah, definitely. That Dark Shrine is approaching, and it will fly right over a Zergling. So Reynor gets to spot this about as early as possible, which is good for him. He's dropping Spore Crawlers as well. Gets to see a few Adepts on the other side as well that are on the opposite side of the map to him. So far, I think Reynor's doing everything right, though. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he sees the Warp Prism. He says, okay, there's a Warp Prism, but there haven't been Adepts. Therefore, this Warp Prism has a high potential, a high chance to be Dark Templars. So, I mean, on the side of Gerald, does he give credit to Reynor and says, you're going to be ready? He does not. He's going to try to walk in the Dark Templars into the natural base. And hard to blame him as well because the links are on the other side of the map. So this could be a couple of drones. Sees the Spore, goes after the Spore. This could be huge. The Queens do have Transfuse available, 2 of them, and they will both get Transfused off. The DTs will get saved. So good job by Gerald there. That was close, Ben.
That was really close because I know you were getting super hyped, and for a moment there I started believing with your hype, you know. But yeah,
I mean,
those
two more swipes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. That was real clutch by Reynor, having those queens in that position. By the way, this creep spread is really starting to get all the way across the map here. And the fact that Reynor stopped that as clutch as he did, but also denied the third, that was... He's playing really well, man. Like, if anybody had any doubts with his score thus far, it's like, oh, no. Reynor just had maybe not the best day for him, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's two more swipes, right? It may not look close after the transfuses go through, but if he reacts 1 second later, the game's over, basically. Because you kill that spore, you have the means to kill the natural base, right? And if you kill the natural, it's an overwhelming advantage on the side of the Protoss. Obviously, trust Reynor to have the reaction times that he needs, and the Queens had energy for 2 transfuses, not even just 1. If it was 1, maybe the DTs could have committed even for the spore regardless.
This follow-up from Gerald, like, everything's a little bit rough right now. Even though he didn't lose those DTs, the damage hasn't really been done that you're looking for. And he's going into Disruptors, which you're really hoping they get a connection against what he's going to be up against. Because Reynor, with this Bly creep tumor down the middle of the map, I dare say he's just going to be looking to knock on his front door and knock him out of the game at some point. But we'll see what happens. Gerald is going to start cleaning that up now, which will buy him a little bit of time and a little bit less safety for Reynor.
Yeah, very important to clear this creep right now. So good that Gerald is doing this, because like you said, if Reynor can just use that creep highway to catapult himself into the third of Gerald, then the Disruptors lose so much effectiveness, right? Because you can run so much faster on creep with those roaches and avoid those shots. But off creep, you can be the best player in the world. And I mean, we're talking about Reynor, so he just about is. But it's very difficult still to dodge those. Near impossible. It's kind of up to the Protoss player to whiff at that point.
Yeah, and Gerald kind of like, if I was to ask him, why so much focus on this creep spread clearing? If you're trying to throw Novas at your opponent and he's on creep, it just becomes way harder to connect, like, as you say. And yeah, the fact that he's keeping it at bay, that's just annoying for Reynor. Like, you can see Reynor's just wanting to mass a lot of units. He's been denying scouting, and that army of Gerald, if those Novas don't connect, well, that's a very flimsy army.
It is tiny, and he's going for the warp for some speed here, so he wants to continue to apply pressure, maybe take some of those Disruptors on offense, as he is posturing with his army on this high ground, which I quite like, because if the army of Reynor chases after the Archons, they could have been punished by those Disruptor shots. Not going to be the case this time around. And Gerald is playing a pretty good game. And I mean, you asked earlier, Ben, how PvC plays out on this map. A lot of the time you want to go for things like Adepts, just because of the... Oh, short rush distance is a good shot. Good shot of creep there.
Yeah, that was a chunky shot. Like, you saw those guys kind of getting onto that rock. Maybe a little bit of a misclick there from Reynor, because I think he wanted to attack it rather than surround it, but still scary. Like, I like the fact that Gerald is posturing, as you said, because if you attack on that side of the map, as long as the fight's happening over there, your base is safe, but he has to be careful. He's 40, 50 supply behind, and that is a huge surround waiting for him.
Yeah, and he is now shooting onto creep, right? So that is a little bit of a problem. But Reynor now kind of exposing himself a little bit out of sorts here, going out of his own creep. The stalkers of Gerald are kind of derping on the other side, however, and this is a lot of Banings that can connect with those Disruptors. Reynor's trying to capitalize on the cooldowns right now.
Oh, and I think he's doing just that, you know, finding away from shield batteries as well, like segregating these Archons as well. I mean, Gerald's doing a decent job of taking some nice cost-efficient fights, but losing those Archons, losing those juicy units, and the fight coming so close to him, but you're totally right. Gerald's playing really nicely.
Yeah, expertly done by Reynor, though, working around those timings. It's not an easy thing to do, so he punishes Gerald a little bit, right? He notices how many Disruptors are available and tries to punish in the in-betweens, even off of creep. Not an easy decision to make, but this is why he is so good, and it looks like he's nearly maxed, so expect more aggression from the young Italian.
Maybe non-stop aggression at that, right? Like, this is a 91 drone economy. He's no longer... he hasn't been all in at any point in this game. He's just been spiraling up, having a bigger army than his opponent. Nice connection from Gerald.
And another one. Yeah, really nice angling here.
But 18 probes fall at the same time, so nice moment for him, but Reynor just doing those fast little things. It's almost like a bait from him.
It almost is, yeah. I mean, he's just that good, right? Like, he was kind of shadowing under the Warp Prism for a while, so it was very difficult to drop those Disruptors. And when Gerald thinks, okay, finally I found the space, to where I'm spaced away enough from your army that I can drop those disruptors as there's another run by here. Reynor capitalizes elsewhere with Banelings, and that's just the nature of fighting Reynor. I mean, the guy basically has multiple hands and brains, it feels like.
Yeah, I think he'd argue about the brain portion. Oh, lovely split, but this kid is faster than anybody on the planet, basically. I just opened up the APM thing for a moment there, and I was like, holy crap. Like, he is running so damn fast. 600 APM on average. I know it's inflated by a little bit, but yeah, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. He might disagree about the brain, but yeah, we've had that disagreement openly. I think that he talks himself down as far as like his intelligence and processing ability in order to kind of like, you know, relieve pressure from himself, because there's such high expectations as he's going everywhere here. These Banelings are likely to connect onto the 4th base. They're gonna kill a few more workers. It's gonna be 11, not the worst thing in the world, but it's 49 to 91, and that is really what the problem for Gerald is gonna be as he, you know, pushes back this attack, but economically he's gonna struggle. He needs to get maxed out in order to stand a chance moving out.
This isn't cost efficient from Reynor, but it's exactly how to break a Protoss that's playing like Gerald is. He's just attacking in multiple fronts, trading, not the best, but he's trading, and that's the big thing. Like, look at the economy of Gerald, absolutely stomped at this point. I guess his one hope is that he survives another wave or two, and he just goes with a massive army that can maybe do it, because like he doesn't have a lot of time here, Cats. Like, we have a Spire on the way, Hive on the way as well. It's only going to get worse for Gerald.
Yeah, at least he has Storm now, but that's also more things to do, right? And that's more difficult against a player like Reynor that's going to be hitting you everywhere. The Templars are nicely positioned far back here, and here comes the first Storm, so that's the reveal for Reynor. Oh, and the Disruptor shot to follow. And that is one of my concerns, is can you use both Storms and Disruptors, as these Banelings do clear 2 of those DTs now on the other side of the map. So, you know, Gerald is trying to apply some pressure, trying to do something. These Disruptors actually both hitting the sport deliberately, but not clicking on it with the follow-up DTs. Not that it would have mattered, as Reynor already has Overseers back at home.
It's crazy to see what Reynor's looking at. Like, I can see what he's seeing, given the little red screen where you can see what he's looking at, and the quick pacing around the minimap here. He just sees absolutely everything. A little red dot for him, or a little blue dot in this case with Gerald. He just goes there immediately, no matter what's going on the rest of the map. And Greatest Spider start, that's a lot of Banelings. He's in that natural now. He's breaching, and Banelings here, there, everywhere. 3rd base, 4th base, 2nd base. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that was a triple prong attack, and it still manages to find the things that he wants to find. The Banelings connect onto the Nexus, that was the best target. The Banelings connect onto the High Templars in the middle, that was the best target. And the Banelings attempt at a Rambai, which is all they could do on the left-hand side. So again, good decision-making and quick decision-making, paired up with the speed of the gods, and that is Reynor in a nutshell. Now, this is basically the all-in for Gerald. He needs fantastic disruptor shots in order to maybe stand any sort of a chance. This Baneling's looking for the disruptors in the front, not able to find them actually, but the shots have whiffed as well. These Archons need to keep those Banelings in check. A few of those Banelings will all connect onto the disruptors. A blink forward attempting to shield those, but that's gonna make it so that the AoE of Gerald is mostly gone. It's just a cleanup job here for Reynor, who again has to go after the Disruptor, not connecting with that one, Ben. It's Gerald for now doing okay, but the reinforcements looking scary for Reynor.
They're coming fast, and Gerald is running out of steam here. Like the big brute of his army, it's gone, but he was making something happen there. I just saw his head tilt in the camera as well as he realizes there's just too much, but that was the timing he was looking for. He went for it, but Reynor just has too much in the bank. GG. Reynor takes a nice game 1, actually. A lot of action.
Yeah, a lot of action. And I like when Gerald goes for that basically all in, right? Like his last stand, because it didn't look completely one-sided at that point, right? So it really goes to show that if Reynor doesn't connect with all of his Rambais, like if Gerald has just, I don't know, 10 supply or more or so more than he had, then there's a good chance that he can, you know, survive with a lot more army. And he did a good job of protecting his disruptors with the blinks. Just not enough this time around, but a good game 1.
Actually, a really good game 1. I think Gerald impressed me with the fact that he was so resilient with holding on there. Because that last fight, if he had like 10 less probes die throughout that game, considering that a lot of probes did die, or just a few of these disruptors weren't caught off dying to Banelings, yeah, maybe we could have been looking at a different game there. But Reynor just displaying how he likes to play, which is a lot of economy and a lot of fights going off continuously, and he was very good at just deflecting a lot of the damage without taking too much at all, and just making sure that he was constantly whittling his opponent down. Really nice style, really hard to emulate, but yeah, very well done.
Absolutely, and I mean, I love what Gerald was bringing. Unfortunately, his style is just the kind of style that doesn't stack up against too well against Reynor, right? Like, he is trying to do a lot himself. Like, he's getting those disruptors, then getting the storm. It's very difficult to layer those on top of one another, right? They're similar in their role, but now you're having to click different units, different buttons. You're having to tab around, and that complicates things and slows you down no matter what, no matter who you are, right? If you're tabbing between things, then that is more actions, that is more processing time, and that is, slowing yourself down in the process of holding. So maybe I would have preferred something like Colossus just to keep it a little bit simpler than the High Templar edition, because there wasn't Vipers or anything else like that yet. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, keeping up with Reynor is a tall task, no matter the units. And yeah, here we are. This is the guy that we're talking about. I'm sorry, Ben. And the bottom left-hand side, it is for Kaisi Gaming, former world champion Reynor.
You don't need to apologize to me, Cats, for being passionate and talking about what you like, You only need to apologize about some of your tweets now and then. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, spawning over the...
What was the tweet that hurt you, Ben?
I can't remember. It was a while ago where I got salty. I can't remember why. But anyway, spawning over in the bottom right, it is Gerald. Sometimes we just bring up things. Like, Kevin does it with me all the freaking time, where even to this day, he'll bring up this one match from, like, in fact, 15 years ago at this point, and he'll just be like, "Hey, remember this, Ben?" I'm like, "Yeah, Kevin, thanks, drop it," But yeah, I think you're totally right. Those storms were definitely dealing a lot of damage and making it really hard for Reynor to, like, know when he can engage, though, because maybe if he had the Colossus, maybe the Banelings could have got right in there many more times, because he's dodging the disruptor shots, and then he's weathering the storms as well. It's a real tough one. It's a tough one, because, like, Protoss's options are less now than they used to be, with the Void Ray nerf from a while ago. But yeah, it's really hard going up against a guy like Reynor, who's just so good at that kind of game on these big, huge basey maps.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, Gerald's bread and butter has been for a little while in this matchup, I think, like triple Oracle openings, especially after the Void Ray nerf. But even before that, he was one of the few Protoss players that I think really liked the Oracles more often than pretty much everyone else who was opening Void Rays for the most part. So yeah, expected the Stargate here on this map. That's exactly what we're gonna get. And this is a little bit more of a defensive map as well. And given the position of the Stargate, it looks like it's gonna attempt at being a pretty fast Oracle to the other side. So I kind of like this. And we were talking about Reynor and his strengths. This is a map where it's a little bit more difficult to pull off the multi-prong and the Rambuys, right? Like, there's effectively two entries into the clump of your bases, and one is very far away up at the north. So opportunities for Gerald to make something happen here, I think.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like, Blackburn has been the defensive map. Like, you either come down this middle slot, down the slow zones, or you wrap around the whole map, and it becomes a bit more obvious where your opponent is and how to deflect them. But yeah, I like this Stargate down at the bottom. Very Zest-like. Keep bringing up his name, by the way. Where he puts one pylon forward and then the Stargate on that bad boy just to whip out the unit as fast as possible. I am curious what his follow-up's going to be, though, because, yeah, getting the Oracle alive is not necessarily just for damage. It's for all that vision as well.
Yeah, but it might do damage, because this is a beautiful opening from Gerald. There's a little bit of conditioning that happens, like as a player, right? Ben, like, you see something that looks like what your opponent just showed you, and then it's easy to assume, especially against a player that's not very tricky, like we were saying, that it is something similar. And Reynor was just looking for this Oracle with a Circling. It did not spot it, so he's gonna spot it last second. That means no Spore available. He will have two Queens in position regardless. So such a fast reaction, but very cool by Gerald. He opened with a Stalker as well, right? So he was really selling that this wasn't a Stargate.
Yeah, we do see more Oracles joining the fray as well. Where he's going to stop, we don't know just yet. 2, 3 tends to be a good number to go for. An early third for Gerald as well. The scouting from Reynor with the Zerglings has been really solid. Like, he's just had 1 or 2 Zerglings patrolling these very acute spots, but they've always been in the right spot. So he sees the second Oracle, gets the info that needs these spores. They start at a nice time. And wow, he's actually going for the Queen.
Yeah, I like that because 2 oracles will be 2 queens. Does get it and tries to get a drone on the way out as well. I don't think that he did, but getting a queen is nice. You know, it's about as much as you're gonna get. Yeah, I also saw some starships like flying some wraiths or something in the background. I'm not sure if you caught that.
It's amazing what we still find on these maps that we've never looked at before, you know?
yeah, right there. Niall is trying to spot for them. I think Niall caught him too. Oh, you saw it!
Yeah, I saw him. They quickly flew in there. They were fast, though. They were fast.
Very fast.
Oh, Cheeky Zealot is caught out here, and actually gave Gerald a little bit of time to reposition his Stalker how he wanted it. Oh, this is...
Yeah, but not able to reposition the Adept, however, in time. Having to warp in additional Adepts and already lost an extra one, so... Not ideal, not the worst case in the world.
No. How do you feel about the Phoenix follow-up, by the way? Like, in fact, it's double Stargate with Phoenix follow-up. That is cutesy and something we don't see super often.
Yeah, and that's part of why I love it. I think that Phoenix can be that kind of strategy that is very surprising for Zergs. And, you know, if the Zerg player is trying to check all the boxes to account for everything, like makes a few too many roaches on defense or something like that, and then Phoenix show up, I mean, Phoenix are just gonna have a lot of longevity in terms of like harass potential and whatnot. They're not very good defensively, so you know if your Zerg opponent is looking to be aggressive, it doesn't look so good. But on a map like this, we've talked about it. I mean, it's not the no, this is not the shade though.
I mean, he's making good of a bad situation here by getting into this nice little choke, but yeah, that was super unfortunate timing. And I think if Gerald could take that moment back, he would. But hey, okay. I was about to say maybe a little bit of damage here, but Reynor's just got units all in the right locations here. I guess the one thing for Gerald that's working out is the fact that Reynor doesn't really know what he's up against.
Yeah, again, right? Because technically Reynor was surprised by the initial Oracle. It's just that he's so fast at adjusting that he didn't take any damage anyway. But the Phoenix reveal is gonna be pretty nice here. So Reynor is crossing the map with whatever links he has. That should be easy to hold with a battery here and a couple of Zealot Warpins. Will reveal the Phoenix now. So let's see what his response is. It's gonna be Circlings and +1 melee. And Circlings, of course, pretty effective against Phoenix because you don't want to lift those up. Your energy is a little bit more valuable than 25 minerals more often than not.
And it's going to be quite a few drones biting the dust on this gold base as well. Doesn't really want to lose any Phoenix, which unfortunately does, but was this what Gerald was hoping for with his first showing of the Phoenix? I mean, it's not bad, but it's about what Reynor's response is going to be here. So he's just thrown down a lot of spores, sees that there's no fourth on the way just yet, and he's got a lot of Zerglings that are getting super decently upgraded.
Yeah, those units are actually about to get caught, perhaps as well out in the open. Nowhere to tuck for them, but the Oracles are going to make quick work of the Zerglings, so there's that. But I like the choice for Reynor to continue to upgrade those Zerglings. Double upgrades now rolling with +1 or +2 melee as well as Carapace on the way. And also making a lot of Zerglings. I mean, those are going to be super effective against everything that isn't the Oracles right now. So Gerald now trying to account for that as he sees that that is the route that Reynor is choosing by getting, very nice stasis there, by going into a Templar Archives, most likely to start warping in some Archons.
Yeah, that stasis is actually super juicy. Like, that stops a lot of counterattack damage being done. So now Gerald can just completely focus at whatever these Phoenix are going to do. But that is a lot of queens that he has to contest with. And, you know, Rotterdam would be kicking himself this game. He'd be like, where's the +1 air weapons? It would help so much for taking down these queens, these overlords and stuff. And
that is what he would say, yeah.
Yeah, he'd absolutely be kicking himself. But Reynor, look, he's not feeling like he wants this game to go on for a lot longer, and he wants to bust that front while taking down the fourth as well. Shield battery overcharge, doing a damn good job on the front.
Yeah, as per usual. That Stalker not really tucked in as well as it could be. The Mainlings looking to connect on the Zealots. Good splits there from Gerald onto the slow Zealots. On the other side, Reynor does deny the gold base with a little bit of like a small contingent of links. So that's nice for him. Units lost on our screens right now shows that Reynor is not doing too hot. And now he's droning up, but a lot of the time, Ben, the best response to Phoenix is just to make drones, right? Because you're gonna be losing drones to those Phoenix, and we have seen that throughout this game. Oh, no!
Oh, look at Gerald's face, man. Just, that was like an anime like face going on there. Just wide open face, like mouth, eyes, and look at that. Oh my god, there's all the Phoenix as well.
Game. I think he might just leave now. I mean, this was just so sad because he was doing great. I was about to start saying how the position that Gerald found himself in was pretty good because Reynor committed so much to making Zerglings instead of making drones. So Gerald was actually keeping up in workers. And yeah, I mean, now he's just not. Now he's just dead.
I mean, like, we talk about how fast the game StarCraft is, right? And I mean, Reynor just killed a man, like just straight up in 20 seconds. Like that was just absolutely insane.